Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Brian, and we're doing the final for our 48-hour group build, and we did the Jeep Wrangler Rubicon from Revell and 1/25th scale. This is the second kit of this particular version I have built, and so I knew a little bit about it and what to expect. I think that's a key feature when you're looking for a kit to do for a 48-hour group build, something you might already have some experience with, something that you kind of know in and out, so you're not too surprised when something comes up. So that's, for what it's worth, that's my little bit of advice right there. But there are some guys out there that do some killer stuff that I'm like, wow. Okay. I mean, we're talking two tones, we're talking bare metal foils, we're talking all kinds of stuff. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to be happy over here with my Tamiyas and my powders. But yeah, we got her done. She turned out really, really well. I was joking around with Chris over at CD Scale, and we were talking about names and stuff like that. And he's like, maybe you should call it Jeep-etto. That sounds kind of Italian, since we were joking about how this was supposed to be an Italian vehicle, fitting the theme for the last 3 years for me. But I was like, that's actually pretty clever. But how about Jeep-etto? So here we are, Jeep-etto. There we go. So I got to tell you right off the bat, that's a hell of a color, right? Because I freaking love it. I've had this color in the arsenal for quite a while. I've never used it before. I don't know why I never used it, but it's bloody awesome. I love it. I just can't get over it. And for some reason, I'm like, man, this color is making me think of something, and I can't put my finger on it. And then I realized this is the orange from the Gulf Oil Racing logo, the Gulf Oil Racing livery, and I'm like, oh man, I'm set. I've got ideas now, boy. So yeah, I freaking love that color. Before we get too far along, though, we were doing spoon tests, and this was a little bit lighter than the actual Jeep is, because we did do. This is just a quick one shot on here, and originally I was thinking about doing this pearl yellow, which has got a very fine mica in it. Doesn't show up very, very well. I thought that might be kind of cool, but it's going to also look like, I don't know, metallic corn or something. So then I thought, well, what if we did the yellow over the orange and came up with this guy? Oh, boy, that looks good. So that was going to be the plan for the Jeep. And then I realized, you know what? I got to do 3 coats of primer. I got to do at least 2 coats of color, maybe 3. And then I'd have to probably do at least 2 coats of the yellow to get that all evened out. Ain't nobody got time for that. So that's actually a color that we are planning to use on something else in the future. I like how that looks, so we're going to try that on something else. The color on this Jeep looks so great because Jeeps are not large vehicles in their own right. So they can handle a bold color choice. I mean, that's kind of how I feel about it. We did do a little bit of weathering on the wheels and tires. We did a black wash over all the panel lines to help bring them out, because otherwise the color is so bright, we wouldn't be seeing any panel lines or detail on the vehicle at all. We did do a little bit of weathering on the tires, we chucked them into the vise and on the drill, ran them on some sandpaper, and then gave them a dusting so they look like they've been at least used off-road at least once. The interior is basically 4 different colors, 4 different shades of black, ranging from German gray, matte black, NATO black, rubber black, and then a little bit of gray panel liner here and there to help bring stuff out. Around the back side, we decided to go ahead and use a New Jersey license plate in order to honor our buddy Craig, who's the host of this awesome group build. And we did do a mask off on the back here. It was at 10:30 at night last night. I was like, you know what? If I just mask off the back here and hit that with some light gunmetal, that'll really bring out the tread plate and kind of tie it in with this rocker piece right through here. And I thought that's going to be hot. So I did that, and I really like how it turns out. I also want to say thank you to another member of the community who at the last second came through for us with this itty bitty little pizza. This is too cute. Look at this, something we printed out and we just folded up really fast. Yeah, it's a thin crust, but I like my thin crust pizzas. We're going to put that right down there. That's going to be our treat for later. It's about all the carbs they can handle right now. But the interior turned out pretty nice. Got decals for the gauges. That we just cut that out and stuck it in there. It's still on the backing paper. So we did flat black on the dash, and then just did a quick wash with gray panel liner to bring out the detail, super fast. And then let's take a look down in there. We did do some flat black on the center console. The rest of the car on the interior is a mixture of a German gray for the seats, and then rubber black for the doors and the roll bars and all that stuff. So that turned out pretty good. Oh yeah, let's take a look at the bottom real quick what we got her. So a light weathering, especially for me. We did again some more gray on the running gear, gray panel liner on the black running gear. We actually brush painted the transmission and engine. We used some Vallejo Mecha colors, this stuff here, and this is the light steel. Looked really good. We did a panel wash over the top of that, brought out the detail super nice, and then a nice little rusting technique on our exhaust system. Looks good. Did not do anything with the actual fuel tank. I just left that. I think in the future I would probably do this like a semi-gloss black, because sometimes those have a plastic shield over them for puncture proofness. But yeah, we did delete the little fog lights off the front here, and then we also deleted the snorkel, so that meant that we had to fill the little holes that were supposed to be in here. And for 48 hours we did an awesome job on the fill for those. I mean, we can see a little bit of a blister right there, a little bit of a bump, a high spot right in there. But otherwise, I mean, that looks stellar. And then when I was doing some photo research on this, I realized this is not a current vehicle at all. This is from 1990. This is a 1999 Jeep. Was the last year they did this body style here. Everything else had the door comes up higher, then cuts down, and then becomes that height there. So yeah, this is not a new not a new model Jeep, but again, it is a good model in its own right. I did make a little flub up on the Rubicon decals. I have those set a little too far back. They should be centered, and I think lower down on the hood too. But you know, it is what it is. I put it on there. I went to go check my references, like, oh, I need to slide those forward, and it wasn't moving. It was laying down like a 3-year-old that didn't want to leave a grocery store. So we left it where it was. But there we go, guys and gals. Again, Craig, thank you for hosting this again. I really appreciate you doing that, buddy. This is our 4th in a row now, and we're looking forward to doing our 5th next year. As a matter of fact, while we were halfway done with this guy here, it suddenly struck me the kit that I had wanted to do for this. I still have sitting over there on the side, and I'm like, oh, that's right, I wanted to do that one. So I already have a kit picked out for next year. So so there we go. We're going to turn to the right here, and I'm going to give you a quick glimpse at everything we used to build this, not tool wise, but paint and glue wise. So there we go. Let's back out a little bit. Boom, there we go. So yeah, a lot of Tamiya paints, primers up in here. We have our gloss and flat clears, a little bit of jar paint for touch-ups, and then yeah, we use some Vallejo paints. We have some leftover decals and a couple leftover transparent pieces, because this kit does give you extra transparent pieces for the small fiddly things. I like that. That's awesome in case something goes on walkabout. Here's all of our interior colors, all the different shades that we use there. We use some canopy glue, some super glue. And then if you're doing a lot of panel line weathering underneath the chassis, like I like to do with the Tamiya panel liner stuff, this is an enamel. So over the acrylic and the lacquer stuff, it's fine. If you're doing that over an enamel, you're going to have issues. But it turns out that the last jar of Tester's enamel thinner that I have actually cleans up the brushes really, really well. So I have a couple of brushes dedicated for using on panel liner, and then we just clean them up with that stuff. And then check this out. This is something my nephew made for me on his 3D printer. Pretty sweet, huh? Those jars fit in there pretty good. So we haven't knocked one of those over in a while, but a little bit of microsol for a few decals that were on the Jeep. But yeah, oh, and then our weathering powders too. We use those on the tires and on the underside. So there we go. That's pretty much everything we used in this kit in the last 48 hours. So, oh boy. All right, I'm gonna go get ready to go out, because we're supposed to be going to dinner with friends. We all of a sudden we're on a compressed timeline. We like to go to dinner weekly with a family friend, and things were getting down to the wire, and finally we're like, oh yeah, we're going out to dinner. So, so I need to go get ready for that. But man, I'm tired. I need a coffee the size of my butt. I tell you what. All right, y'all. We'll talk to you a little bit later on. Congratulations to those who have finished already, and to those that are still working away. Keep at it. We're watching. We're rooting for you all. So we'll talk to you a little bit later on. Bye now.